Welcome back.
Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the City Council, Quincy City Council, Monday, September 12th, here in the Great Hall. Call to order. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor King.
Present.
Councilor Crowe.
Present.
Councilor Vaughn.
Present.
Councilor Finn.
Present.
Councilor Harris.
Present.
Councilor LaForest.
Present.
Councilor Liang.
Present.
Councilor Calmucci.
Present.
President Hughes.
Present.
You have a quorum, Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much. If you'll all join me in a moment of silence, if you'll please stand. And I just ask you to remember today in this moment of silence, obviously the victims, the families, our first responders, our country, after yesterday's anniversary of September 11th. And keep all those folks in your thoughts, as well as this evening, our state auditor, Suzanne Bump, on the loss of her husband, Paul McDevitt, who was a great resource for the city of Quincy and certainly the Commonwealth. And our thoughts and prayers as a council are with the auditor and her family at this time. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if you'll read the open meeting law.
Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting during the meeting. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'd like to call up Councilor Kroll for a comment. Is it Councilor Finn, excuse me. Councilor Finn for a commendation. Councilor Finn?
Thank you, Madam President. I will forgive you for confusing me with Councilor Kroll. Again, I'm a good person to be confused with. I might want to reconsider that last statement.
Summer cobbler.
You know, it's tradition of this body has always been to honor excellence and achievement, especially in athletics. And my time since being here, we've honored everything from light hockey teams through professional boxers for the skill and craft that they exercise. But it's not every night that we get to honor in this chamber a national champion. And yet, tonight, that's exactly what we're doing. And I would like to invite Nick Andrade, who is a junior at North Quincy High School, to come forward. And let me tell you exactly how Nick spent his summer this summer. He won the national fencing competition of the 1AA division, which is the second highest level, correct, in amateur fencing. And he won it in Hollywood fashion, I think is the best way to put it. And let me read exactly from the ledger account how it went down. After a long, exhausting day of fencing, Nick Andrade found himself down by 3 points in the final bout for the Division 1A Men's Foil Championship title, up against a fencer from the University of Notre Dame the 16-year-old underdog told himself to focus on getting the next point. He tied it up, and he and his opponent went touch for touch until Nick took the title in a dramatic finish. He earned a gold medal at the USA National Championships in Dallas, while his grandfather, Tony Andrade, watched. And we do have his grandparents here this evening, Tony and Phyllis, as well as his mom, Shelley, and his sister, Jackie, who are also here with us this evening. But the point I really want to make here this evening, and I think it's an important point, as emotional as it might be, is that we're really talking about more than just a championship and Nick's excellence in his sport. We're really talking a lot about character. Because I think most of you know, well, you probably don't, what you don't know is that Nick has been fencing since he was 8 years old. And, but what you probably are aware of, that, again, the tragic loss almost a year ago of his father, Paul. And he underwent a tragedy that all of us dread and few of us experience. I think in many respects that no one would have blamed him had he turned in on himself, perhaps, in some way, but that wasn't Nick's response. What Nick's response was instead was to choose excellence, to rise above it. And that's exactly what he did. He chose to excel. And in making such a choice, what he did, he brought great honor to his name, to his family, and from our perspective, I think very importantly, to his city as well. And so, Nick, we are very, very proud to honor Quincy's national champion in fencing here. And I want to read the inscription on what we're presenting this evening. It says, presented to Nick Andrade, 2016 USA Fencing National Champion. In recognition of your gold medal at the 2016 USA Fencing National Championships, you showed focus, poise, and dedication during a close match, competing against college-level competitors while at a national competition. We applaud you for not only your outstanding athletic performance, but for your character and sportsmanship as well. You are a credit to your family, your school, and your community. It's a privilege to recognize you today. Now, Nick, I know you don't want to speak, but at a minimum, you've got to show us the medal.
Yay!
Family,
well, just on behalf of the family, we just like to say thank you to the city. We're very proud of you.
So, okay.
Madam, we have a brief recess
Yes,
for our
we'll
pictures. Thank you.
brief recess to do a photo.
We could gather a well.
Thank you, Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What's going on?
That's a really cool one.
If we could have his family too. Come on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We can get a guest photographer for you.
Do you have a seat picture?
They'd like to meet you.
I don't know, maybe we should let a professional do it though.
Family,
Right ahead.
family first.
Mom just blocked me out.
Here, put it
You're kind of,
Rose, double rose. Nice job, Jen.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
I noticed that the superintendent is here, so it might be a good time to talk on the North Quincy fencing team.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Let's name the new middle school after him.
all right, we'll reconvene now. Madam Clerk, the first item on the agenda.
Yes, it's a presentation from the City Livable Communities Coming Age Friendly, sponsored by Councilor Kroll and the City Council.
Great, thank you. Councilor Kroll.
Thank you very much, Madam President. All set? Thank you. Maybe if I step back a minute there. Appreciate the opportunity to participate in this dialogue here this evening with many of my colleagues. As some of you are aware, my chairmanship lies in the Committee of Senior Citizens. I have the privilege of representing the largest mature population in the city of Quincy, which I take great pride in doing. And I have the opportunity to work with these folks day in and day out. And it's noticeable that sort of the issues that you deal with as you mature in life are certainly different than when you're younger in life. But in my day job, I have the opportunity to work with folks preparing for retirement, and studies and news clips, and really press for the last 4 to 5 years to profile this demographic of the baby boomers who are continuing, who are now and continue to retire for noticeable years to come. What got me thinking about this is, what does our demographic look like internally as a city? I know as a counselor sitting in the well here, we spend a lot of time digging through a dialogue that specifically deals with downtown and caters to a noticeable younger demographic. So that kind of got me to think, what do the numbers look like internally here outside of downtown? And what are we facing as a city over the next 10, 15 years as we begin to consider this aging population? And the numbers, and I'm sure Ms. Span will kind of go through some of the studies. I've looked at several, but it prompted me over the summer to engage in a dialogue with Valerie Span from AARP, with members of the Massachusetts Council on Aging, and with some other folks who have done these studies to really, hopefully, come up with an idea or a framework that will help us as a city to really go down a path or enhance what we're already currently doing. Valerie will take us through a brief presentation, so I'll make my comments as short as possible here. But the goal of this exercise, as I see it, is not to say what we're doing wrong. When you look at the amount of output done by the city department heads, we're doing a lot of things right when it comes to being an age-friendly community, being a livable community. What this program, in my mind, specifically is designed to do is to provide a framework and enhance upon what we're currently doing. But more importantly, as we consider capital improvement plan and the expenditure of future funds going down the road, are we maximizing that dollar in a capacity that applies to everyone equally, or more specifically applies to the folks that are already living in the city of Quincy, and also applies to the folks that we're hoping to attract to the city of Quincy. So with that, I would like to introduce Valerie Spain. Valerie runs the outreach and the program coordination for AARP. She's conversational as possible, she's a surety. You do have a slide deck in front of you. I believe Valerie will speak for some of the slides, but please, Valerie, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Thank you. Nicole, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Pretty well? Okay, great. So my name is Valerie Spain. I'm from AARP. I do outreach and communications, and I manage the Age-Friendly portfolio. And so, Age-Friendly, so basically just a little background. Every day, 10,000 boomers turn 65, and by 2030, the West will have twice as many people who are age 65 as they have today. So there's big changes in demographics across the country. And these are some numbers projected into 2013, which is last year, or a couple years ago, into 2050. So of the world's populations, 21% will be over 60. So the reason Age-Friendly program came to be is because the World Health Organization was looking at two big things that were happening globally. Population was aging and urbanization, many people moving into cities. And they developed the Age-Friendly network they came up with eight domains that support active and healthy aging. And they envisioned an age-friendly city as an inclusive and accessible community environment that optimizes opportunities for health and participation. And they really, I think that the key word is really accessible and inclusive. Age-friendly communities are age-friendly across the spectrum. They came about because of looking at older populations. However, what communities do to make themselves age-friendly is beneficial to everyone, from millennials to families to folks with disabilities. So AARP is the partner in the U.S. for the World Health Organization. And they have 3 network goals: to facilitate the exchange of information, to provide technical support, and eventually to link cities that are involved in the network. So AARP has state office, an office in every state, and every state is involved in bringing people into the network in that state, and then also to connect these regionally. So the Age-Friendly Network really is a framework, and it means making a commitment to working toward having policy, services, settings, and structures that support and enable people to age well. Many communities that join the network are already doing complete streets, or they're looking at their roads and pedestrian crossings, they're looking at accessible housing, affordable housing, all of these things, and I'll go over the domains quickly after this, that will already fit into the framework. It's a way of just bringing communities and cities together so that they can share best practices. And it's a 5-year initiative, so when you sign up, there's an application process. The mayor or your town manager, whoever, would sign a letter saying that they are behind this. There's no cost to join the network. It's totally free, and it involves planning and implementation and evaluation. So things like new planning, it's like assessing, and you can, we often use the Institute of Gerontology at Mass Amherst. They come in and do assessments where they talk to the city about what kind of assessments they're already doing. I'm sure Quincy has already done some assessments around something. So this is the framework. This is the beginning of the 8 domains. And it covers built environment and the social environment. So outdoor spaces and buildings. It covers green spaces and safe streets and accessible places that are enjoyed by people, again, of all ages. Transportation, that public transportation can be expensive as a train system or as probably as a taxi. It isn't just cars, so transportation complete streets wants to make streets available for all modes of transportation, whether you're a biker or you're walking or you're using the roads. Housing, to design or modify housing for aging in place and making it a good option for various life stages and bank accounts. So looking at your housing stock and seeing what's available. Social participation, loneliness and isolation are one of the biggest issues for older people. And how do you look in your community to see who's being served and how they're being served? Respect and social inclusion. This is a lot of intergenerational activities. How do you bring your older and younger populations together, other places where they can gather publicly, to have events and places where they can participate. Civic participation in employment. Older workers are often the best workers. They are loyal. They people, as they age, don't necessarily want to stop working. Many of them can't stop working. They want to have volunteer opportunities. Communication and information. To be looking at how you disseminate information and communication to all your populations. Not everyone has a smartphone or a computer. And are there ways that people can learn how to use those devices if they want to? And community and health services, where do your residents access affordable care and how do they do that? So communities are responsible for designing their own age-friendly initiatives. We provide technical assistance and oversight. We also connect communities to each other. Right now, we have about 7 age-friendly communities in Massachusetts. Martha's Vineyard's in the application, is down there in the application, but they actually just became an age-friendly community. And we have about 6 more communities in the pipeline. And this also is a little old. There are actually more age-friendly communities across the country. So AARP's vision is a society in which all people live with dignity and purpose and fulfill their goals and dreams. And the mission is to enhance the quality of life for all as we age. So we have felt that having this partnership with the WHO really fits in very well to a lot of work that AARP has. The livability index is one of the tools that communities can use to sort of assess where they are with the 8 domains. They will look at all 8 domains in your zip code and give you information. We're going to be doing webinars on the livability index for folks that join the network. And this is just some helpful URLs which you will have in your notes. So I'm happy to take any questions. That really is, I just wanted to go through that quickly and give you an overview about what it is. I wanted to also say that the Tufts Health Plan Foundation and their organization, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. It's been a long day. I spent most of my day on the day of service bagging food at community servings in JP, so you'll have to excuse me a little bit. However, the Tufts Health Plan Foundation has taken a huge interest in age-friendly, and they are in the process of hiring a director who will be the age-friendly director across Massachusetts. So that person is going to be working very closely with myself, looking at and tightening this network, offering resources, which will be quarterly meetings, finding ways to disseminate information through webinars, et cetera, and help the networks to connect and create and share information. So I just wanted to say that that's a big thing that we're all quite excited about. So,
Thank you, Madam President. Valerie, just to sort of recap on the application process.
yes.
Roughly, it's, say if everything went as planned, right, the city council would pass a resolution.
The city, so The application process is, there's not, you answer, I think there are 8 questions on that application. And I encourage communities to put in that application, answer those questions, and bring in work that they're already doing and link it to work that they want to do. And the only other thing required for that is to have a letter from your mayor or town council or town manager. And a resolution is also is extra and extremely helpful as well.
So on paper, essentially, it's a 5-year build-out. In the first 2 years, the AARP, the World Health Organization, these 8 domains are a suggested framework as to how we will create
That's
our
right.
own age-friendly political community. So say, for example, Quincy's age-friendly plan could be different from Newton's
Yes,
age-friendly
yes.
plan.
And you don't have to choose all 8 domains. You can choose any number of those domains to work on. Not every community can do all 8.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think it's important to point out that we are doing some of this work as we speak.
Yes.
I think the goal in any line of work is to get better, right?
Yes.
What type of resources are available to us, and how do we leverage, like you had said, relationships with folks inter and outside of the network to potentially secure additional grant funding.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, I mean, the goal is to really create a world-class city.
Yes, yes. And the feeling that a lot of cities have had, and cities and towns who join the network, is that it does position them. It's another thing to put on that grant that says, you're already doing some work, you're part of this. The Tufts Health Plan Foundation funds a lot of age-friendly work, so they're always putting out RFPs, and the cities are applying. So,
Can you speak a little bit to, I chatted with Council Yang a little bit on this, she serves as the vice chairwoman of the committee, how some folks are going out there and creating their action plan through various listening forums?
Yeah, so a number of cities have, either they've designed them themselves or they've used the UMass Gerontology Institute to go out in the communities and do listening sessions with populations, not just older folks, but a variety of organizations and populations. But for sure, getting older people, older adults to be part of that conversation. And find out what their interests are, what do they need, what's the problem in their community, in their ward or their area. And using that and building a plan based on what people in those neighborhoods and wards, communities are looking to see happen. It's a great way for counselors and folks in the administration to find out what their communities are really looking for. So,
And I think and then I'll stop speaking in case folks have additional questions, but there's numbers out there that support the need of this growing population that's already here.
yes.
And, you and I were having a little joke before the meeting, but I'm 36 years old, and when you look at the long end of those numbers, I'll be approaching what they classify as mature population. So it's not just, the senior base that's currently in the city of Quincy, it's folks that are already here, or my dad or my relatives that continue, and ultimately get faced with life decisions, which is transitional housing, transportation, employment. But I think the thought is, how are we, the city, putting ourselves in the best position possible to create an attractive environment for those current and also aging folks that are here.
Well, and studies are also showing that the things that appeal to older folks as far as how a city is accessible and affordable and the transportation and the housing is very appealing to millennials. They don't want to be driving all the time. They want access to transportation, bike lanes, this sort of thing. So, if there's information, I don't have these things at the tip of my fingers, but I'm happy to get information to folks who have any questions and studies that you'd like me to access for them.
And there was some interesting case studies, and I forwarded around the link to the council. There's quite a curriculum on that
Yes.
website. But
Yeah.
and one of the case studies, obviously a much larger city, but I believe it was New York, that went out and leveraged some grant money. It was a public-private partnership they had forged, and basically what they did was upgrade the bus shelter seating arrangements
Yes.
that made them wheelchair accessible. And also, I guess the point they were making, if you're making something wheelchair accessible, you're also making it stroller accessible.
Well, right, and that again goes back to the question of that a livable community. And livable community is kind of the umbrella term. It means, and then age-friendly is the term for this particular program within that livable communities framework. Because the city of Yarmouth and Brookline are both livable communities. They don't belong to the network. They started doing this before that came in, before the network started. So they're kind of grandfathered in. But they've been doing a lot of this work on their own for a number of years. I'm actually going to another conference in Yarmouth around the work that they're doing on the Cape. So, and Berkshire County, the whole of Berkshire County has joined the network. Because there's so many small towns out there, it doesn't make sense for them to join individually, so they're joining as a region, as a whole county. And that's often happening to the rural places across the country. So, any other questions? Yes.
How many of the 351 cities or towns have joined the network?
In Massachusetts?
Yes.
Yeah, so the ones that I showed you, so far we've got about 8
Okay.
that have joined, and one's a county. So Berkshire County has joined. And then we have, and then the city of Boston, and then there are about 6 or 7 other cities and towns. And then we have, that slide that I showed you is a little old, so we have about 6 or 7 also sort of in the pipeline.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for coming in this evening, and certainly thank you to Councilor Cole for bringing this to our attention. And I know we're going to be seeing something a little later this evening about adopting a resolve. So appreciate your information this evening. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mallory.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item is number 2, 2016-202, Sterling Middle School Project Scope Budget Agreement. City Council of the City of Quincy does hereby
Waiver.
appropriate.
Motion waive the reading. Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, we
Yes.
2 weeks notice for this public buildings also.
Sure. Joint finance to public buildings.
Finance.
I believe to finance and to public buildings. Okay. I believe Solicitor Timmons is here to speak on this particular item. So, Solicitor Timmons, if you wouldn't mind. I also want to note that Superintendent Cristofaro, as well as Barbara Isola from the school committee, as well as folks from Sterling Middle School are here this evening in support of this appropriation. So I did want to acknowledge them this evening, and I received calls from other members of the school committee in support of this particular appropriation. So, Solicitor Timmons.
Thank you, Madam President. With the indulgence of Madam President, what we thought we'd do tonight for the council is just give you a very brief overview, because while you were on your well-deserved summer break, this project continued steaming along. And in particular, our architects, AI3, with whom I know you're familiar, have completed a lot of work, and the school is starting to take form. So as this matter comes before you, and we prepare to put it into the Finance Committee and have the council consider the matter, we thought this overview would be helpful. We've worked very hard with the administration on Quincy High School, on Central Middle, and we see this project going in the same direction. So we're delighted for this opportunity to provide you with an update. And here to provide that update is Scott Dunlap, the principal at AI3. He's been at every meeting. He's done a good chunk of the work here, and Justin Tebow, who's also on the project from AI3. And in addition, Madam President introduced the folks from the school side, but also here tonight is Walter McDonald from Public Buildings, who's on this project and on the building committee as well. So with that, Mr. Dunlap has prepared a very brief presentation and would like to just update the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, Madam President, members of the council. We were before you in October and provided an update with regard to the Sterling Middle School project, so we're going to avoid being repetitive with regard to any of that, but certainly there are some important things to update the council on. You may have seen the Boston Globe covered the Massachusetts School Building Authority meeting that took place on July 20th. That was a very important milestone because on that day, the Massachusetts School Building Authority's Board of Directors officially approved the funding for the Sterling Middle School project, which essentially is the offering to the city of Quincy a grant that would reimburse 73.2% of the eligible cost of the project, something that certainly every city and town would like to have. And the city has been very successful not only on procuring this kind of grant on Sterling, but as Mr. Timmons mentioned, on prior projects, which is unusual and certainly speaks to all those involved on the city side. Subsequent to the Board of Directors' decision on July 20th, the city has 120 days to approve the funding for this project. And if the funding is not approved during that time period, the grant would be retracted and would be offered to another city and town. They provide that 120 days to make sure that any kind of council decision or vote within the city can take place. I would also point out, at that Board of Directors meeting, a couple of members of the board were very vocal in acknowledging the outstanding work that was done by the Quincy Public School Department. In fact, there's a very large document of almost 100 pages that the school department has to prepare. It's called an educational program that reports exactly what the building can accomplish for the students in the city of Quincy. And at that board meeting, a couple of the board members stated that it was the best one they had ever seen put together. And now if you go on the MSBA website, you'll see it is the one that is posted there as an example of what cities and towns should be following. So certainly really nice work by the school department for that. I also want to acknowledge the community outreach that has taken place. The councilors Kamuchi and Kroll assisted us in putting together a community meeting that involved a lot of input and really a lot of positive enthusiasm with regard to the project and what it can bring to the surrounding community. We'd like to thank everybody that participated in that process. Certainly not the only outreach program that will be going on. There'll be, as we continue with the project, there'll be other efforts as well, but all the building committee members who have been actively involved in the project want to acknowledge and certainly appreciate their support thus far. The mayor assisting us in putting together the community outreach program as well. We've also done an enormous amount of work with the school administration and staff. They have made themselves available literally weekly since we began this process in July of last year. So over a year now, great availability and enthusiasm by the staff and administration to really build what will be truly a model middle school for not only the city of Quincy, but certainly the entire Commonwealth. And appreciate Dr. DeCristofaro, all of his staff, and the administration, and all the time they've put into this effort thus far. The project in and of itself is not different than the one that we covered with the council last October. It still proposes a new building centrally located between Robert Street and Granite Street on the current Sterling Middle School site. with parking on the majority of the parking located on the Robert Street side, and then bus drop-off on the Granite Street side, development of recreation areas for students, and really a building that is shaped and formed and located on the site, right in the slope of the hill, just behind the existing middle school. Again, very much the project as was presented to the council in October of last year. It's still a building which is organized into 4 academic grade level teams, with the 5th and 6th grade being on the main floor, the 7th and 8th grade being on the upper floor, and then the common community and school facilities such as the gymnasium, the auditorium, the music and band classrooms being located on a lower level, at the same level as the parking lot that I pointed out on the Robert Street side. We do and have had a chance over the last year to begin to develop an exterior design aesthetic for the building. This happens to be the view of the building from Granite Street, the view of the building from Robert Street, another view of the building a little further west from Robert Street, looking into the parking lot that I mentioned on the Robert Street side. A view from Granite Street, standing on the opposite side of the street and looking across the outdoor recreation area there at the entrance of the school. Just briefly with regard to schedule, as I mentioned in July, the MSBA officially approved funding. The first approval by the members of the MSBA was on July 12th, and then the board met officially on July 20th. Tonight's September 12th City Council meeting, and then subsequent to this meeting, we'll be moving through a series of design phases as we continue to develop the design and construction documents for the project, with a goal of starting construction in late spring of 2017, because the goal for occupancy of the project is a fall 2019 building occupancy. We believe the building can be completed well ahead of that date, but we want to certainly leave room in the schedule to be able to furnish the building, install technology in the building, and make sure it's fully prepared prior to the fall occupancy by students and staff. So that's a general schedule that we'll be following, again, assuming council's support for the project and funding. That's very brief. I know you're busy and have a full agenda subsequent to the summer break, so with that, I'll return the floor to Solicitor Timmons.
Thank you very much. Lovely presentation.
All set, thank you.
Council, yes, Solicitor Timmons. Is there any questions? Yes. Council Palucci.
You thought you would just, that was it.
I know, welcome back, Council
Welcome back, Council
Palucci. We've so missed you.
Yes. Me? I'm the bad guy? Anyways, thank you. And thank you for all your work. I know you've been spearheading this for a long time, as a lot of folks have. And thank you to the team, the community members, the administration, the school department, and everyone else who's been involved, because this is a long time coming. It's a beautiful plan, beautiful design. Very excited to actually see dates attached to building occupancy, end of construction, start of construction. That's the first time I think we've had a presentation that has dates to it. So that's very exciting. It should be exciting for the community as well. I will hold you to those, Mr. Timmons. I consider those, now that you've said that there are dates, those are hard and fast dates, nothing will go wrong. But just a couple of quick questions. On slides 5 and 6, the purple zones, are those?
Which are 5 and 6?
I know there are no pages there. So the purple zones, are those the parts that aren't eligible for reimbursement? I know this has been kind of as we've done several buildings now, this has kind of been a changing playing field in terms of what is eligible for reimbursement versus what isn't. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of what MSBA is kicking in for and what they're not.
Sure, understood, Councilor Palmucci. The area to the left, which is the purple zone, represents the auditorium and stage. And in a middle school, the MSBA does not support funding. They'll support the building of, but not the reimbursement funding of an auditorium. But what they do, the stage area, so the only square footage that would be extracted, if you will, from the square footage that they will pay for would be the area where you see the seating in the auditorium. That's the only area of the building that involves actual square footage that they will extract from the eligible area that they're paying for. The music area and the band rooms, which are in purple, are in fact fully reimbursed and eligible for the reimbursement by the MSBA. So it would just be that auditorium seating area.
Okay, and gymnasium, that's reimbursable?
Gymnasium is fully reimbursed.
So really the only thing out of the actual interior of the building is the auditorium seating?
That is correct.
Okay.
There are a variety of different items in addition to just square footage that aren't eligible. You know, they have a long list of small items, like they only reimburse a certain amount on furniture and only a certain amount of technology, et cetera. But in terms of the physical building itself, that's the only area that they will be extracting that they would not be participating in reimbursement on.
Okay. And I trust that you raised technology. I trust that we're going to complete this building as we've completed the others, upgrading it to the most efficient and best available technology in terms of education processes.
Absolutely. In fact, we have funded the project, prepared the project budget with the specific goal of making certain that it has the most modern technology, not only in the form of computers and wireless access and that kind of technology, but certainly from the security side, from the lighting side, energy efficiency side. All the goals are very high with regard to this project. Technologies are evolving every single day, and our goal is to take advantage of all of those that enhance student learning and or increase building operation and efficiency, certainly.
Okay. That's terrific. And just lastly, what's the date that we have to approve by? What's our timeline for this body?
120 days from that July 12th.
So it gives us about 60 days, roughly.
That is correct.
Well, terrific. Thank you very much. Super excited. I know that the community is very excited about this, very excited by the prospect of the new community middle school in that neighborhood. Again, long overdue, and I know there are many, many people to thank for getting us this far. Folks who are long past with their involvement in this process, who really did a lot to get the ball rolling many years ago. So I'm sure we'll have an appropriate opportunity to thank them once we finish this project. But it takes a lot of work to get it to this stage. So again, very excited, and just want to thank the folks who've been involved this far for all the hard work and effort to make this a reality and to have this come before us and come before the council for actual approval. So thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Palmucci. Councilor Finn.
Thank you, Madam President. But again, you alluded to, yeah, please. This was raised last October, and it is something I've heard from members of parents as it relates to schools generally, with so many of the unfortunate incidents that have occurred in schools around the country. But you alluded to the security innovations, and we discussed it in October as well. Could you again talk about what the uniqueness of this particular project is in ensuring security?
Sure. There are a number of things. I mean, building security really starts outside the building, quite frankly. And so we are thinking about the approach of the students as they approach the building and the approach of visitors as they approach the building, and we're designing the control areas, the administrative areas inside the building to enhance visual connection to the outside of the building, so that it's not just a single person who's expected to observe people outside the building. So there's a lot of even though it would seem counterintuitive, there is a lot of transparency to that entry area of the building, and it's because we want a lot of eyes on the visitor who's approaching from the outside. Certainly when you come in the building, we will have and continue to incorporate in all of our schools a very advanced internal video surveillance and security system that has the ability to record all areas of school, certainly including key areas, and distribute that video to any location you want for monitoring. We'll have a number of different lockdown and security features inside the building where an administrator or a teacher will have the ability from their cell phone or even a class phone to immediately put an area of the building or a classroom in the building to lockdown mode, which means the hardware on the door automatically locks, shading devices automatically cover windows in the building. All of the technology is really allowing us to make the building more secure without, and still maintain that sense of openness in the building. Our goal as school designers, and that's literally all our firm does is design pre-K to 12 educational facilities, is to not let the security concerns compromise the educational environment, meaning we certainly want the building to be very secure, but we don't want the students to feel like or staff to feel like it's a prison. And technology is suddenly allowing us to do that with systems that enhance all the security without necessarily having, for example, block every single window or not have daylight coming into the building. So all of those features will be incorporated into the building as part of what we're doing.
Well, I think it also really supports the concept of new construction that allows not just the innovation that's occurring in relation to this, but in terms of education curriculum generally. And, I just thank you for the ability to articulate that. I also wanted to take a moment to commend the administration in terms of the level of transparency about this project along the way, particularly with the MSBA. Every phase of this has been reflected in terms of the stages that have come through, and I think that's been very helpful because, again, we know it's important for us to understand what happens within the process as well, and the thought reflection that goes into this. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilor Devine.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to elaborate a little bit on that, security-wise, and I know this probably is going to be a question that's going to go up, but how about the security cameras? I know we have, Quincy High School has it going directly into Quincy Police Station. We're going to be able to do something like that. We have that type of setup where you can just put something right on the top of the building at different angles where you can get up to the second, surveillance of the entire building.
Absolutely. We haven't designed in detail the system, but I can certainly tell you that in similar middle schools in current day, we're designing those kind of systems everywhere. Where you can literally take the video that's being captured anywhere in the building on any of those cameras and broadcast it to any point you want to. Police stations are a popular location, but there are certainly others depending on the way the city and town wants to handle their security. And the ability now, the cameras are much more sophisticated where really a relatively inexpensive camera can capture incredible detail, can include movement, zooming, all kinds of features that weren't even available 10 years ago. So those kinds of systems. We have a person full-time in our office who does nothing except focus on that kind of technology and designing those systems into our building. So always staying ahead of the curve, and what's available really makes for a super secure environment.
Before Sterling Middle School does not have an elevator. Is there an elevator in this building?
Absolutely.
And where is that located?
If you look at the best place to see, if you look at let me just see, because I don't want to point to it because I will point to it if you guys don't mind moving, but right at the main stair is right here in terms of faculty and staff and school circulation, and there's an elevator located right there beside it that gets you to all 3 floors in the building.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Can I just ask a question? So the matter has been referred to Finance Committee, through you to Councilor Kroll. Are we going to be scheduling that and to, buildings? Are we going to be scheduling that meeting tonight? Do you know? You anticipate? Right.
More than anticipated, we'll schedule that.
Okay, and I just,
The only thing that I would just have a little concern about, because I don't know, is the logistics and the access point to the school. We just want to make sure that we're not enough an already scheduled program taking place. But yeah, I'll put a date out there this evening. For sure.
okay, thank you. And I, so just with respect to that, I want to thank you as chairman of the Finance Committee for your willingness to hold the Finance Committee meeting relative to this project at the Sterling Middle School. I think it's important that we get out there. I think in general it's important that we as counselors get out there, do a little bit of a roadshow. We've done it in the past with public safety meetings offsite. I think this is important enough to the community. As you know, you represent many, many families that have students there and that are in that community. I think it's important to bring the information to folks and bring it to a location that's a little bit easier for them to get to and participate in. So I think that's, again, I've used the word exciting so many times, but that's another exciting thing about how we're going to proceed with this. And I want to thank you as chairman for agreeing to do that, and the school department for agreeing to host us. So we'll kind of pack up, go on the road, and we'll, I suspect, have a hearing and involve the community at the location. I have a lot of my community meetings there. It's acoustics aren't great, but it's, there's plenty of parking there. And it's good for doing community meetings. And invariably, every community meeting I have about different issues going on in different neighborhoods throughout Ward 4, someone will walk in here and they'll say, "Oh my God, this has not changed in," add the number of years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And they say, "I think my name is carved in the back of one of those seats back there." I always say, "Well, we're going to build a new one, so maybe you can buy the seat. You can put it right in your garage or something." So I think it'd be great to have the meeting there. I just wanted to thank you, Chairman Cole, for doing that.
Thanks, Councilor Conley. Anyone else who can speak? All right, well, again, I want to thank Superintendent DeCristofaro, Assistant Superintendent Kevin Mulvey, School Committee Member Barbara Sola, Mr. Francini, Ms. Mitchell from Sterling, and thanks for all the support that you're showing this project, and we look forward to discussing it. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Number 3 on the agenda, 2016-303, upon the request of the superintendent of schools, and with the recommendation of John the Mayor, the sum of $250,307 hereby appropriated for school department. Same to be charged to the revenue fiscal year 2017.
We have the reading on it. Mr. Mulaney?
Okay, all right. Mr. Mulaney. Are you here to speak?
Yes.
Great.
Good evening, Mr. Mulaney.
Councilors. What happened when we were preparing our budget, the governor put the full-day kindergarten grant into his budget. It was also in the approved House's budget, and the Senate wound up coming in after we'd already passed our budget. And in the meantime, they had also increased funding for Chapter 70. So our budget was made based on the fact that we're going to have a kindergarten, full-day kindergarten grant of $250,307, and that's for 100% for salaries for kindergarten aides. That being cut, we looked to see if there was another place to find some funding. And when the original budget was proposed, the governor had a amount of $26,441,381 in Chapter 70 money. The final that was passed by the conference committee was $226,763,766, which is a $322,385 increase, which more than offsets that amount of the cut. And that was one of the reasons the Senate was saying that they could afford to make this cut, because there would be an increase in Chapter 70 monies to various districts. And the cut occurred because they had to help us out with position, because it is personnel, we can't limit how many people we want.
Anyone, any questions? Anyone? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So the appropriation was included in the budget, but it didn't come through with the,
No, we didn't need the appropriate, we didn't need that amount of money in the budget because we were anticipating we'd have the grant because it wasn't the governor's proposed budget. There was full funding for the grant with the $250,307 amount.
so, but I guess what I'm saying is, we don't even actually get your budget, we just get a line.
Correct.
Right, but I'm saying for your budget, these positions were budgeted, but were offset by what you expected to be coming.
They were school's budget,
Right.
they were in the grant lines, so we were anticipating those positions were funded by this grant, which the governor cut the year before, and the Senate and the House put back, so we were kind of shocked when the Senate wound up cutting it out.
So I guess the point, or the distinction I'm trying to draw there is, these aren't something that you just came up with. These were all along, your public process, your budget process always included that these were positions that were going to be filled, anticipated, you built your
And they were
curriculum.
discussed quite often during the budget meeting along with the school committee members.
Okay, and where does this money come from?
The grant came, it was a
No,
state
no,
grant.
when, I understand where it's not coming from now. Where is it gonna come from now?
There's an additional $322,000 that's coming into Chapter 70 money. That's the educational funding. It doesn't go to the schools, it goes straight to the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve by Councilor Kroll. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Devon. On the motion, anybody? Very well, Madam Clerk, if you'll take the vote.
Counselor King.
Yes.
Counselor Crowe.
Yes.
Counselor Vaughn.
Yes.
Counselor Finn.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor LaFleur.
Yes.
Counselor Leeang.
Yes.
Counselor Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
If I could, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you. You know, we can do all the planning and we can do so many things in the school system with our great school committee and our administration and our supportive mayor. But everything stops until it gets to this body. And you never disappoint. And I just want to thank you in regard to our students, our families, which many of you talked with so many times. But they're very, very thankful for the support that you give them on every project that we bring here. It's thoughtful, it's meaningful, you communicate wisely, and I can just say thank you very, very much, because we're doing a great job, and I think that without your support, our kids and our families would be very thankful for the school system that we have. So I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you very much for your support.
Thanks. Thank you, Superintendent. All right, next item, Madam Clerk.
number 4 on the agenda, 2016-204, creating the city of Quincy, accept the following gift.
Waive the reading.
Motion waived. Accept the gift and send the letter. Okay. All, go through. Yes. All right, Madam Clerk.
Counselor King.
Yes.
Counselor Crowe. Counselor Vaughn. Counselor Finn.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor LaFleur.
Yes.
Counselor Leeang.
Yes.
Counselor Calhoun. President Hughes.
Yes. Next item.
Next item on the agenda is 2006, number 5, 2016-205.
All right. Motion to waive the reading, gift $6,000 from the Copeland Family Foundation to the Quincy Animal Shelter. On the motion, Madam Clerk.
Counselor King.
Yes.
Counselor Crowe.
Yes.
Counselor Vaughn. Counselor Finn.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Counselor LaFleur.
Yes.
Counselor Leeang.
Yes.
Counselor Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
8 members. Next on the agenda.
Madam President,
Yes.
could I just ask that be recorded as a no vote on that item?
Sure.
Number 6 on the agenda, 2016-206.
Waive the reading.
Motion waived. Accept the gift. Okay, motion to accept, made by Councilor Kroll, seconded by
Council King.
Yes.
Council Crowe. Council DeBon. Council Finn.
Yes.
Council Harris.
Yes.
Council LaFors.
Yes.
Council Leeang.
Yes.
Council Calhoun.
Yes.
President Lee.
Yes.
8 members. Next on the agenda, number 7, 2016-207.
Need to read, please.
Motion made by Council Kroll, seconded by Council LaForest on the motion.
Council King.
Yes.
Council Crowe. Council DeBon. Council Finn.
Yes.
Council Harris. Council LaFors.
Yes.
Council Leeang.
Yes.
Council Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
8 members.
First. Yes.
9 members. Next one on the agenda, number 8, 2016-208, gift, that's $2,900.
Waive the reading, accept the gift, and send the letter.
Okay, motion by Council Kroll, seconded by Council LaForest.
Council King.
Yes.
Council Crowe.
Yes.
Council DeBon.
Yes.
Council Finn.
Yes.
Council Harris.
Yes.
Council LaFors.
Yes.
Council Leeang.
Yes.
Council Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
9 members. Next is number 9 on the agenda. Gift for $550 from various donors to the Air Camp.
Please accept the gift, waive the reading, and send the letter.
Okay, motion by Council Kroll, seconded by Council LaForest.
Council King.
Yes.
Council Crowe. Council DeBon.
Yes.
Council Finn.
Yes.
Council Harris.
Yes.
Council LaFors.
Yes.
Council Leeang.
Yes.
Council Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
9 members. Next on the agenda, number 10, 2016-210, a gift of $2,500 from Walmart.
Please waive the reading, accept the gift, and send the letter.
Motion by Council Kroll, seconded by Council LaForest. If you'll take the roll.
Council King.
Yes.
Council Crowe.
Yes.
Council DeBon.
Yes.
Council Finn.
Yes.
Council Harris.
Yes.
Council LaFors.
Yes.
Council Leeang.
I'm going to abstain.
Council Calhoun.
Present.
Council Hughes.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is number 11, 2016-211, a resolve.
Council Kroll.
Waive the reading.
Okay. Motion by the reading, Council Kroll. On the motion?
Thank you, Madam President. This is really just more of a definitive statement, I guess, in the text form to capture much of what we discussed this evening through Valerie's mandate, ARP, and encourage the administration to go down the path of seeking the age-friendly/local communities designation, which is free program with no additional cost to the taxpayer, and then hopefully what the council started here tonight was an articulated benefit from complying with this framework. So with that, we'll pass.
Motion by Council Kroll, is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Finn. And on the motion, Councilor Finn.
I feel obliged as being, I don't know, maybe there might be one other, but primary members of AARP. I did really want to commend Councilor Kroll for this particular proposal. Part of the reason for it is because it's asking the city to think about the quality of life, not just simply in the present, but as we move forward. And instead of merely reacting to something, to think proactively about how to shape the city to impact what is clearly a growing demographic. I remember Mayor Sheets, with his commitment in the past around issues related to aging, always had this saying where he said that it's a constituency we need to be very sensitive about because we're all going to be part of it at some point. So, again, I would like to commend Councilor Kroll for his thoughtfulness related to this matter. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Finn. Councilor Devon.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to commend Council Kroll as well with everything on this entire presentation. Just to elaborate a little real quick on two things. Two of the biggest questions I get from the seniors is, how do I get down to the Kennedy Center? I have no transportation. And secondly, how do I get into the senior housing? I'm on the waiting list and it's about 2 years. Those are the top two questions that the seniors, come to me and say they have as an issue or a problem that they're trying to overcome. And hopefully this program can help with those two areas. I see as housing and transportation as being two main concerns to get around the city of Quincy, where a lot of them don't have a vehicle, and a lot of them are looking to downsize from their housing and stay in the city of Quincy into senior housing. So I hope this is definitely something in the right direction on the needs of our seniors. And I want to thank Councilor Kroll for taking a step forward and getting the entire council to co-sponsor this. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. I'm reminded of a saying that a former colleague, Councilor McNamee, used to say on occasion, which is, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can see how this thing's going to go. I can't remember the last time that not all my councilors co-sponsored something, so fair to say that this has got a good chance of passing. I think Councilor McNamee meant that in a pejorative sense, but we'll give him the credit nevertheless. I too just wanted to thank Councilor Kroll for bringing this up. This is the epitome of good ward councilor work, in my opinion. You see an issue that affects residents in your ward, and we all know Councilor Kroll has a high population of seniors who live in his ward. Seeing an issue in your ward, finding a policy solution, working on that policy solution, and then applying it and implementing it on a citywide basis. I mean, that really is the epitome of good ward councilor work. And it's just kudos, hats off to you, Councilor Kroll. Happy to support this, and it's an excellent program. Look forward to the city moving forward with it. As we've often said up here, as we debate the downtown and the intricacies of the downtown, it's important to keep a wide lens. I don't know how many times in the presentations that we've had from, whether it be in the SPGA or downtown, talking about the millennials. Millennials don't need us up here watching out for their interests, because it seems like everybody in the private sector is building things for them, is gearing marketing campaigns towards them. But it is important for this particular population that we, as a city, set out policy initiatives and a framework to make sure that the city of the future that we're building, both downtown and throughout the city, is one that is livable and age-friendly for the seniors and folks like that in our community. So kudos, Councilor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilor Palmucci. So is the motion made and seconded. Now clerk will call the roll.
Councilor King.
Yes.
Councilor Crowe.
Yes.
Councilor Devon.
Yes.
Councilor Finn.
Yes.
Councilor Harris.
Yes.
Councilor Crowe.
Yes.
Councilor Lee.
Yes.
Councilor Calhoun.
Yes.
President Hughes.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
All right, thank you. Next, we will move to approval of previous meeting minutes, the minutes from June 27th. Is there a motion to accept? Motion to accept by Councilor Harris, seconded by Councilor Forrest. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Great. Ayes have it. Communications and reports from the mayor, other city officers, city boards. Madam Clerk, I know you have a few.
I get communication from Verizon, New England Inc., and Massachusetts Electric Company request permission to
Waive the reading.
remove poles.
Motion to waive the reading by Councilor Calhoun.
I motion that for the Public Works Committee, and then we schedule a hearing later in the for October 30th.
Great. Great, refer to Public Works. Thank you, Councilor Finn. Next item.
Can I?
Yes, oh yes,
Just
of course.
a
Yes.
communication, I'm sure most people received it, but I think it should be noted is that the Commissioner of Public Works has communicated with us an annual report for fiscal year 2015, which is again a summary of various aspects from Public Works, but most people I think should have a copy of it, but we should probably include it as part of the record. And then finally, the last thing, I do have something that was sent by certified mail, and it's really an opinion of someone in opposition to a licensing issue from Paul Jeanette, 202-206 Washington Street, Quincy, Mass. I'm just like simply referring that you could, as also if you could send that to licensing emails.
Thank you, Councilor Finn.
Thank you. I also have 14 new traffic requests. I'll start with Ward 1 and go right down to Ward 6. Ward 1, Councilor Forest, at no parking on the south side of Squanto Road, Quincy Shore Drive, to 50 feet east of Quincy Shore Drive. Ward 1, at handicap parking to 55 Shannon Street. Ward 1, at no parking on the north side of that Orange Street, 50 feet west of Hancock Street to Adams Street. Ward 2, at handicap parking to 18 Silver Street. Ward 2, at no turn on red on Franklin Street, northbound, intersecting with Bradford Street. Ward 4, at handicap parking to 94 Goddard Street. Also Ward 4, at handicap parking to 11 Robin Street. Ward 4, remove do not enter on Reardon Street, westbound, intersecting with Furnaceburg Parkway, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. Ward 5, at handicap parking to 53 Payne Street. Remove the handicap parking at 8 Rosalind Ave. Add handicap parking at 3 Ocean Street. Ward 6, at stop sign at Park Ave, north and southbound intersection with Huckins Ave. Ward 6, at handicap parking at 297 Billings Street. Ward 6, at handicap parking at 39 Marshall Street.
Great, so we'll refer to ordinance for advertising.
That's right.
Great, thank you. Any unfinished business from the preceding meeting? Shouldn't be, I would say. Okay. Reports of committees? Presentation of petitions, memorials, and remonstrance. Yes, Councilor Finn.
Thank you, Madam President. I just really did want to take a moment. First off, I want to thank you for mentioning the passing of Paul McDevitt earlier as you did. I thought, again, it's rare for me oftentimes in terms of memorials to take advantage of it, but specifically, I mean, I've knew Paul McDevitt for many, many years. And those of us in the recovery community have really lost an incredible presence and friend. Many years ago, I get slammed for it, but you know what? It's the proudest honor I've ever had in my life to have run Father Bill's place for 7 years, because I know the lives that have been touched, the people who've been impacted by it. And I also know, having served many of those same people, what a difference the modern systems program made, which was the innovation of Paul McDevitt in terms of again, providing recovery resources and services to so many, particularly starting with labor and so many other groups and organizations. But even much more than that, Paul McDevitt was a voice of wisdom. He was a voice for social justice that was absolutely incredible. And losing him is really a great loss, but at the same point in time, one can only hope that his memory and the humanity and the wisdom and the courage that he brought to the whole issue of recovery continues, and people can claim that as his legacy as well as our own. And I would love, if you find it suitable, Madam President, I would love later if we could close this meeting and remember Paul McDevitt for all he brought to the city.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilor Finn. Anyone else? Motions, orders, resolutions. Scheduling of committee meetings or public hearings. Okay, we need to schedule a public hearing for Monday, October 3rd.
October 3rd at 7:25.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, for great pole installation.
Yep.
Okay. And anyone else needs to schedule? Brad, did you
Yes,
want? I mean, Council.
no, it's fine. Brad's easy. For some reason, I have in the back of my mind on October 3rd. Does that date connect to
It's a council meeting.
Yeah.
council meeting? Okay, so 120 days go from July 26th. So, like, when's the drop dead date is a better question. Or when this,
Which drop dead date?
so we have time,
Yeah.
right?
Don't have a lot of time.
What it is?
No, the holidays. Yeah, that's not good before that.
Go into the 29th, work, folks, it is a committee of the whole, and we are obviously going off campus on the 29th of this month, September.
Friday, November 8th.
Sorry. I'm open to whatever, I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Show people.
What's the date?
Monday, the 29th of September, Thursday.
And then we have a meeting on Thursday, 29th at what time?
Maybe we can do what, at 6:30? Does that work for folks? I'm gonna ask, just for some guidance and direction internally. Sorry? Yeah, just to make sure that we got locale and all that stuff. I know Constable, you know, probably want to do some marketing out in the neighborhood, just to know about it. So, is that give you enough time for council?
Sure.
29th? Does that work for everyone? 6:30, so? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I'd like to request that we schedule an education committee, the chairman, to follow up on the resolution that Councilor Cole and I submitted back in April.
Okay.
Cool. The next available. No, October, yes. Yeah. Anything's good.
Just a public hearing, besides that. At 7:25.
The public hearing should look at
7:25.
good, probably, 6:30.
6:30.
6:30 on October 3rd. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Yep, just a couple of reminders for everyone. Monday evening, we'll have our next council meeting. Also, this week, this coming weekend, is the annual Arts Fest at the Adams Field on Marymount Parkway. Saturday, September 17th, from noon to 5 at Pageant Field, is the annual Quincy Food Truck and Craft Beer Festival. And then the third annual City of Presidents 5K Walk or Run to benefit QPS will be held Sunday, September 25th at Adams Field. You can register online at racewire.com. And this year, we will hold this race in memory of Central Middle School's Emily Zarnock. So just so everybody is aware, September 25th, I know Councilor Calucci is running gear on.
Training.
It's a run walk, right? Exactly.
That's
That's
not
right.
still, no.
good one and something that we should all be mindful of this evening, and the great work that Paul McDevitt has done, not only for recovery and here in Quincy and on the South Shore, but statewide, and really take a moment to close the meeting in his honor this evening. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, made by Councilor Calucci. All those in favor? Seconded. It's scary. You know what's actually scary? You know what's really scary? I think